Coming up on CTV News tonight, another major aftershock shakes Canterbury this morning, and the HSBC building has its reopening. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. Christchurch was rocked by another aftershock just after 5:30 this morning. The quake struck at 5:39, 40 k's west of Christchurch near Dunsandel at a depth of 12 k's. The aftershock caused the red zone to be closed while Sarah engineers completed an inspection. By 9:30 the red zone was reopened. Inspections of arterial routes around the city and the four avenues were also carried out and no damage was observed. There were no reports of damage and no power outages. 1,050 reported they felt the quake in New Zealand's quake site. The quake was felt as far away as Nelson and Dunedin. Building owners outside of the central city red zone who have any concerns should contact their structural engineer or certified building practitioner. All tenants have moved back into the 11-storey HSBC tower on Worcester Street. While many people are concerned about going back into the CBD and back into high rises, engineers say it's an integral part of the rebuild.
HSBC building on Worcester Street is one of the first buildings in the CBD to have all its tenants reoccupy. Last night the building, which now houses Sarah and the Christchurch City Council, had its reopening. Engineers say the building is a perfect example of how a building should perform in an earthquake, and the building was able to be brought back into service quickly and easily.
From a life safety point of view, they are extremely safe. Well, modern buildings are extremely safe. We can design them extremely safely. Traditionally, we have designed on the basis that in a major earthquake, they will suffer controlled damage and protect the occupants. But we can do better, and this building is an example of one that not only has protected the occupants, but has also been able to be rapidly reoccupied and brought back into service.
Dr Clifton says buildings such as these are extremely important for the rebuild of Christchurch City.
I think it's extremely important. Christchurch is New Zealand's second largest city. It's a major hub of commerce. It's a major city in sort of every way. And a city of this size needs, I believe, needs a cohesive city centre and a commercially sort of active city centre, and high-rise buildings are part of that for a city of this size. It wouldn't be right to have a city centre without the high-rise buildings.
Engineer Jade Kirk says high-rise buildings are important in Christchurch's future, as they're not only incredibly safe but also economically viable. For example, he says even though the Hotel Grand Chancellor suffered a lot of damage, the building in fact did its job by protecting its occupants, and the two major buildings that failed in the city were lower storied. Mr Kirk says it's purely uneducated to say Christchurch should be rebuilt with buildings no more than 4 stories high.
The buildings like this are very important. If you look at the capital value of the land and that sort of stuff, we actually have to build tall. We've got to build bigger buildings, substantial buildings like this, which can actually resist severe earthquakes. And buildings of this scale, we can actually do foundations that actually mitigate liquefaction as well. So if we were to invest more money into buildings of this sort of nature, this sort of scale, if we had another event of similar scale, we're going to have more stock left over rather than all the damage we've got now.
And Sarah's Chief Executive, Roger Sutton, says he feels comfortable moving into his 11-storey office.
It feels pretty good. We've got more than one floor here, and the shakes that I've been in, the building moves around a bit, but it's a steel building. It's a very, very strong building. I think we've got an option if we get some more people to getting some space in the 11th floor, and if I have that, I have one of the highest offices in Christchurch, and I'm relaxed by that. I think I'm actually happy about being in a big building as long as it's been engineered properly.
Mr Sutton says he agrees with engineers who say buildings such as these are important for Christchurch's rebuild.
I think it's really important that people have confidence they can go back into tall buildings and feel that it's not going to fall down, they're going to be safe in there. I'm joking, if we do get an office on the 11th floor, I'm going to get a harness, some rope, some carabiners, so if the lift doesn't work I can still find my way out. But seriously, I do have confidence that I can be in a building like this, and I think other people should have confidence too. But I don't think everybody's going to get confidence that quickly. Though some people have had quite unpleasant experiences in tall buildings, where it's going to take them a while.
Eastgate Shopping Centre has announced it will be opening on the 26th of July. The complex was badly damaged in February's quake and further damaged in June. A team of structural engineers, project and construction managers, construction firms and contractors have been working on the shopping centre. The Eastgate Shopping Centre will be the first shopping centre on the east side of Christchurch to reopen after the earthquakes. The Eastgate Pharmacy and Christa's won't open until the 1st of August. Number One Shoes will be opening early August and OPSM on the 15th of August, with more stores to come. Coming up after the break, Chumley Children's Home to be pulled down because of earthquake damage. Welcome back. The home at Chumley, a children's charity in Governor's Bay, will soon be pulled down because of earthquake damage. Chumley has provided emergency and respite care for Canterbury children for more than 85 years, and they're determined to rebuild.
This home has been a sanctuary for children while their families are going through stressful times. But it hasn't been immune from the quakes. The damage from February's gets worse every aftershock, and this week it was confirmed the home at Chumley will soon be demolished.
The object of the whole exercise is to ensure the building's safe for children to come back again. And so it's been determined that the only way to do that is to actually deconstruct it and actually rebuild a new building.
Chumley is continuing to operate from the nearby Living Springs Event and Outdoor Education Centre, something Shane hopes will continue. He says they now have the chance to rebuild a new state-of-the-art facility on the Governor's Bay site.
Yeah, we've only got one opportunity to do this. We've got one chance to get it right. And we want to make sure that when we actually do something, that it's something that's going to be around for another 80 years. And so the building that we put together to replace the 1925 building, that's going to be able to keep that going for at least another few decades while Chumley's here.
The land and original building were donated by Hugh Heber Chumley in 1925 as a memorial to his late wife Margaret. Chumley wants to ensure the iconic parts of the building, like the inscribed archway, are salvaged and used somehow in the rebuild.
We realise that there's a lot of feeling and that the original home's going to be missed, and so we want to give people the opportunity to come and say goodbye, and we can do that either in an informal way and a formal way in regards to having a ceremony, almost a memorial to the home, and then we give people an opportunity to come and be part of that before we actually start beginning to take it apart.
Chumley Board President Sir Kerry Burke says while there was a sense of sadness, there was great pride in Chumley's services to the Canterbury community and a feeling of opportunity as it looks to the future.
Well, Pete Smith found a coffee shop that has moved out of the Arts Centre and across the road. The store's been nicknamed by its customers Hansel and Gretel.
Don't come into the inner city very often now, which a lot of people don't either, but one thing that really inspires me is how adaptable some people can be. We're standing by what they now term the Hansel and Gretel cottage. Well, it's actually what used to be in the Arts Centre. It's the Coffee Fix House, and we've come to have a chat to Gary about it. I think it's inspirational that pretty quick after the earthquake he set up business. Now I can tell he started in a polythene covered area over the other side of me, and now we've got the Hansel and Gretel house. So we're going to talk to Gary about what was the effort, how involved was it to actually get up and running again. So this is the Fix House, this is where we are. What was it like 22 February for you?
22 February? Well, I was actually walking the dog and it was pretty scary. My wife was in the shop and all I could think of was the old boys high building crumbling down around us, so yeah, I was a bit worried. Yeah.
Right. So you were trading at the time?
Yeah.
And you built up over 5 years, obviously quite a following.
Yeah.
So did you think, well, that's it, I'll never do it again? What was your first reaction?
I was really too worried about my wife and my daughter actually to really think about too much about.
Say the next day, what did you think about?
Next day I was thinking, how am I going to get out of this mess?
Because it was a mess, wasn't
it? Yeah.
And the inspiration to come across the road?
Well, a couple of things is we know all the people around here, you know, from council and you know, a lot of tourists who come back, the locals and that, and yeah, I mean, if I'm going to carry on in the cafe business, then no, this is the best place to be.
Now, this isn't where you started, though, was it? It was under polythene across in the
Yeah,
area.
that's right. We had a coffee cart for a while, and every time it rained, we had to bring out a big tarpaulin and drape it over there.
But the fans turned up.
Yeah.
They found you.
All the regulars came.
Yeah.
But we're short of tourists. We rely on tourists
Sure.
a lot. Yeah.
So now the new building, how old's this?
A week and a half.
Week and a half, mate. And they've already labelled it the Hansel and Gretel Cottage. Why is that?
Yeah. They say it looks cute, and I don't know.
Yeah. And good to work in.
Yeah, it's a bit tight for space, but we didn't have much room anyway, so we just we'll make do. It's good.
Keeps us, isn't it?
Yeah, keeps us warm, keeps us dry when it's raining.
Gary, they're queuing up, mate, and we can't get the assistant to do all the work. You better do something. Well done, mate. Great effort.
Thank you very much.
You. Make sure you come down. So there we are. We've spoken to the boss, Johnny, and all I can do is recommend it to them. They've risen again, a bit like CTV, but they're up and they're running, and the product is great. So come down, have a look at the old art centre. It is going to say it's going to be with us. So that's the good news that we've picked up today.
Jill Darcy, CEO of Complex Family Foundation, says the impact of the earthquake on families going through separation is huge.
We are Auckland based, however we do go throughout the country, and we have had a lot of calls post earthquakes. Real complexities that are coming in here, and raw. You know, everyone's very highly emotional. We know that you're exhausted because of what you lived through. And people are sitting there with real big issues of, let's say, Dad's lost his home and he's lost his job, and now he's going to relocate to go and live with family. And one particular example that I've had recently, he's relocating to go and live in Nelson with his family, and he's been here with the children for the last 6 years. And now, of course, the ex-wife is going to be left with looking after the children here because she's still got a home, she's still got her job, and she's not ready to move because the rest of her family's here. So very real, very raw. Now the children are in a position where they're not going to be seeing their dad as much, and how do you cope with that?
How do you coach people through that kind of thing?
Well, really we take it one step at a time as to where they're at, what their angst is. So we need to understand why there's an issue, you know, and then how can we look at it and really take it one step at a time with them. Talk about real situations, real events that they can then manage and control, because so much of Christchurch is out of control. It's beyond anyone's control. And so we try and reduce that level of anger that some people are really feeling and saying, okay, these are things you can't control, here's what you can. Now let's work through that.
Okay, what are some of the other issues coming out of Christchurch at the moment?
Money. You know, huge problems with money. People have really lost incomes, they've lost lifestyles, they've lost all sorts of massive changes. So money is a big one that we're having to come to. A lot more people going on to welfare, in which case that's really affected the feeling that they've let their children down, they don't know how to handle the children's fear. A lot of children aren't sleeping well, or they're withdrawing, they're not, they're sort of turning to their peers more than they're turning to their parents. So yeah, those sorts of issues.
Coming up after the break, your local weather. Welcome back. MP for Selwyn, Amy Adams, is trying to raise awareness of overexposure of solvents. There's now a campaign underway called Glove Up.
I just think if we can get that message out and we can really emphasise the need to wear protective equipment in dealing with these pretty common but actually quite harmful substances, then if that's lives that can be saved, then anything I can do to help that, I'm keen to do.
As a Member of Parliament, is there something more that you can do?
I think so, and what I've been doing over that time is really talking with my colleagues, particularly my ministerial colleagues across various portfolios. It touches on education, it touches on health and safety, it touches on environment and risk management, and really just spending time going to each of my colleagues and explaining to them what the Glove Up message is, where we think that there's some room for improvement in labelling and awareness, and just helping with work with them to try and advance those causes. So, you know, that's what we've been doing. It's getting some good pickup, and there's certainly a lot of support for the campaign been and the work that Tony and Anish and the Glove Up team are doing. And so again, it's just awareness and building that sense of momentum around the importance of this stuff.
How important is it that companies such as Resine have started putting these labels on their products?
Yeah, look, I think that's a great step, and I think Resine really need to be commended. They've really taken the lead in this, and they've taken important steps to firstly make their products safer, but also to really ensure that users of those products understand that they can be used safely. And it's a few very simple steps, but I think it's just that visual reminder of the labelling on the products is so important, just to let people know who are working with these products, particularly in industrial situations, that this is their life. And actually a lot of people die from industrial solvent use, and it's so easily preventable. So while those messages are taught to them, you know, in their training and their apprenticeships, we need to just keep reminding them every day you're using this stuff, wear a protective face mask, wear gloves, and then if we can prevent deaths like Jason Gibson's happening to others, then you know that's got to be good.
Pete Smith hit the streets today in Street Talk and met some young European tourists who say they're loving their time in Christchurch.
Well, there are some tourists keeping the city alive, I've got to tell you, because we've just run into some. So we're going to find out, why did they still come to Christchurch? What did they know about it beforehand? You know, they're pretty brave people, some would say, but others, looking at their faces, I think they're thoroughly enjoying their time. You're from Germany, my man?
Yeah, I'm from Germany.
Did you ever think of not coming to Christchurch?
Not really.
No. So you're out on holiday, or?
Yeah, we were 3 weeks in New Zealand.
Yeah. And did you have bad reports about what you were going to strike?
We heard a lot that pretty much the whole city is closed, that you can't visit much places here, but we still came here, yeah.
And you're having a good time, that's more important.
We pretty much just arrived. So.
Yeah, oh great. Now you're from the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's right.
What's the talk over there about what's happened to dear old Christchurch?
Yeah, we heard a lot about the earthquakes, and even I talked to some locals here in New Zealand, and they said like, actually don't come to to the city of Christchurch because there are a lot of earthquakes still going on, or like some small ones. And
so what are you going to do? How long are you in Christchurch for?
Well, I still have 2 weeks left because my flight is in 2 weeks. So.
Right. So what are you going to do?
I might stay here for a couple of days, just look around in the city, and maybe travel south. And my flight is from here in 2 weeks, and I want to go to Fiji as well. So,
so you're just taking the chance really to have a look at the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think of it?
Well, we just arrived, but yeah, if you look at the buildings, it's horrible to see.
It's a fair old smack, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great opportunity for you to see it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Where are you from, my man?
Germany.
From Germany,
Yeah,
and what, you're here just really to have a look around as well?
Yeah, just look what happens, and yeah, we have to leave tomorrow. Our flight is going tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. Now you don't have earthquakes in Germany?
Not that big
so
one.
this is all new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Can you believe the power of nature?
No, not really, because everything, just those big buildings are completely destroyed. It's horrible. Yeah.
Come down, yeah. Well, I think it's great that you've come. We do value you, because we need people to have a look and come. That's the big thing.
Sure.
Who have we got? Where are you from, my man?
I'm from Germany too.
Yeah. And the same sort of reason you came out?
Well, it's probably just the reason that there's a big airport in Christchurch. That's why we just came here. We were thinking about spending some days here, but due to all this earthquake and that the business district is just closed, we just thought not come for a long time, because it's kind of a weird feeling. You just feel like you come here and look how bad it is going. Just so much is destroyed. We just came down from over there, and you just saw some people.
Was and that,
you just saw some people posing on the pictures, which is
a bit tacky.
Yeah.
Your English is very good.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Did you study that in Germany?
Yeah, a bit. But the most of it I just learned in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that, but
no, that's fine. They don't really speak English in Australia.
No, not really.
Funny
We're just in Queensland, that's not. Yeah, seriously, I went to Queensland, heard the Australians speaking, and then I went to the big cities where they speak proper English more. And I thought, come on, they must be from Britain. They speak that clear. Yeah. Same here. But
once you got here, of course, you knew it was English, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I knew it was English, and that's the other way around. That in Queensland, they just have a funny accent.
They do. They're a bit different. Yeah,
a bit different.
I think it's the hot weather. Hey, makes them go a bit troppo. Yeah,
probably.
Anyway, it's great you've come, guys. Enjoy your stay, and you mean a lot by coming to see us anyway. So, will you come back?
Oh, sure.
Good boy.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, we'll get you a job. How's that?
Well, I'd rather come back for hiking.
Oh, well, you don't get paid for hiking.
Well, true.
True.
Well,
what's your trade? Have you got a trade?
Not yet.
Not
Just
yet.
finished school. I'm going to start studying when I go back. So.
For what? What are you going to study for?
I applied for architecture.
We could do with you here, couldn't we? Hey? See, I told you I'd get you a job.
Yeah.
So you'll be studying the buildings here and having, quite an interest.
I probably should.
Yeah.
Just see what you should do actually to keep them more safe.
Right, we won't hold you up. You get on with your studies. Okay, have a great trip,
Right.
guys, and it's been wonderful, isn't it? Nice to see young people still wanting to come to our beautiful city. It's not quite as beautiful as it was, but hey, it will one day. And if we get that young German architect on the case, tell you what, you never know how it'll turn out.
Yesterday, CTV News ran a story on the Christchurch Quake families being denied government funding. The wrong email address was put up at the end. It is, in fact, quakefamilies.org.nz. You can visit the site to show your support for the families if you so wish. And we leave you tonight with music video written and produced by Backyard Music here in Canterbury to help build up the hype for the Rugby World Cup.
Standing black, back the blacks. Let's bring the World Cup back. New Zealand, let's feel your dedication. Standing black, back the blacks. Let's bring the World Cup back. New Zealand, let's feel your dedication. 1987 was the year it all began. The first World Cup of rugby hosted in the land of the long white cloud. Many rugby nations that gathered to compete, their eyes all fixed upon.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.